Thanks. Like, hey, Scoob, did you hear Nikki Blake is hosting a Scooby-Doo panel? No. Yeah. Like on today's Scooby-Doo episode, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy meet Nikki Blake. Yeah, in a Scooby Panel. Like, we need to get this puppy started. Okay, Nikki Blake, take it away, Scooby-Doo.
Welcome to the Scooby Panel. I'm your host, Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com, and today we're going to be talking about the food from the series Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? So before we get started, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves, and Tori, we'll start with you.
Hi, thank you for having me. You can find me on Twitter at Tori Scooby Fan. I'm super excited for my first panel.
We're excited to have you too. Al?
Hi, everybody. I'm Al CHIASSON, another big Scooby-Doo fan. This is my second panel. And yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be good, fun. I think this will be a funny one, I think.
Wendy?
Hi guys, I'm Wendy Brydge. I'm a 30-year Scooby collector, an artist, and an occasional blogger.
And Jordan?
Hi, I'm Art of Scooby-Doo on Instagram, and I draw and paint. And yeah.
Nice. So welcome to the panel. I'm excited for all of you guys to be here. This is gonna be an interesting one, talking about the food from the series, and at the end of the panel we're gonna be taste testing a couple of things, so it should be interesting. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the food that they eat in the series itself, and we definitely learn a lot more about Shaggy's eating habits in this one. I feel like the food is more centered around him than anybody else. So the rest of the gang don't really eat a whole lot, but you do see Scooby and Shaggy eating a decent amount of food. So we did learn that Shaggy's favorite sandwich is the double triple-decker sardine and marshmallow fudge sandwich, and it has a green olive on the top. Jordan, I believe that's the one that you tried. Is that correct?
Yes.
And how did it taste?
Not bad. I would suggest do not eat it before you go to work because you will be sick. But if you're at home, if you want to try it out, go for it.
Did you put everything on it? Like you had the actual sardines and the chocolate fudge and the marshmallow. Was there anything else that you added to it?
I added everything except I didn't have the olive on top, and I didn't make it big. It was just like a little regular sandwich. But yeah, everything was on it. It wasn't bad. You couldn't. The fudge really covered up a lot of the sardine taste. So
I just could never do it.
No.
I mean, it sounds like something even too wild for a pregnant lady's cravings, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
When I was pregnant, I craved potato salad, which before I was pregnant, I thought was the most disgusting thing ever, because
really?
potatoes were supposed to be eaten hot, not cold. But I craved it when I was pregnant, and now I like it. So
Yeah,
I never craved anything super weird.
Super weird. My mother said she used to eat toast with ketchup on it and nothing else. No meat, no nothing, just ketchup. So, and my sister loves ketchup. She puts it on pretty much everything. So that might explain some things.
Oh, that's funny. Shaggy's favorite snack is corn on the cob a la chocolate syrup, which we will be trying later in the panel.
Oh, dear.
It's one of the least disgusting things, but I'm still not totally sure how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And then we found that in Never Ape and Ape Man, Daphne made Shaggy the Shaggy Snacks, which was pot pie with a pizza crust, anchovies, pepperoni, and cherries in a thick chocolate sauce.
That would be pretty good. I never had anchovies, but
No.
The other thing that I wanted to mention was just that we learned that Shaggy doesn't like squirrel and Scooby doesn't like clams. So some pretty crazy things that they have eaten. And I just wonder who came up with these.
Yeah.
I mean, as writers, like, did they just think of the most disgusting things to put together? Or, you know,
I
are
would
these
think so.
When I was like reading through like all of the different just various foods that they ate, I feel like you can really tell, at least in Where Are You, like the time period. You know, it's very like 60s, 70s sort of foods with the sardines and the anchovies and so many hot dogs and malts. And where do you, I mean, do people eat that many hot dogs anymore? I don't really know, but I feel like it's very much like a lot of
Yeah.
the ingredients are very like time appropriate. And it's just weird combos. Like, I feel like people definitely ate liverwurst, but nowadays I feel like liver who? No, thank you.
and they did eat liverwurst in Where Are You? And Shaggy used it as a sword at one point, and then the pieces. Somehow they just pull this stuff out of their pockets. Like Scooby had bread just laying around somewhere that he was catching the liverwurst on, and then he ate the sandwich. So that's really weird.
That's also the funny thing, is that the stuff to make the sandwich just appeared out of nowhere. The buttons and the lettuce and the tomatoes and everything and all the meat. But I think, like you said, I think they just picked anything out of, out of random, just out of the back of their head, and just said, okay, let's put this together. What's the most grossest thing we can think of? Put it together, and there you go. I mean, I don't think there was any rhyme or reason to it. I don't think.
Do you think they ever thought that someday some of us would actually be trying these things?
No.
never, not at all.
I don't know. You wonder at the time if they think, oh, okay, I wonder if the kids are going to try this next week. If we're starting a new crave.
In the minor episode, when they get the sarsaparilla, I didn't really know what that was as a kid watching it. But then growing up and working at the museum, we did like Western themed events and we had sarsaparilla and I got to try it. I was so excited because I only knew of it from my Scooby contacts. It tastes like root beer. It tastes good. I liked it.
Yeah,
That's
it is
all
good.
I recommend.
Wendy, you haven't really said a whole lot. What are your thoughts on like the foods from the episode? And
I'll be honest, when I read your list, because like, can we give Nikki a round of applause for taking the time to go through all 41 episodes, 41
That's a
episodes
lot.
of Where Are You? And not only did she pick out every bit of food that someone in the gang ate, but she even time-stamped it for us.
Did,
So we
yeah.
could watch it. So, I mean, that
thought of
right
that.
there.
I thought of that too when I got the list today. It's like,
Yeah.
who the heck took the time to do all of that?
Definitely needs to be posted in the comments for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit though, I was a little bit surprised. I mean, there's no doubt the stuff that they're eating, for the most part, like it's weird or it's kind of gross, but it's not as gross as I thought it was. Because obviously, like, we grew up with Scooby and Shaggy, like 30 years for some of us, and so we know that they're known for eating a lot and eating some weird things, and maybe we do have like some distinctive memories, like the Shaggy snack that Daphne makes. Like, that is something that is just, I retained in my mind. But as far as the other stuff goes, I was kind of expecting there to be more like disgusting things. Like, some of them are disgusting enough, but I do kind of feel like you might not necessarily get really, really sick if you ate them. I mean, obviously Jordan knows that some of them, yeah, you will get sick. So maybe think twice before you do that. But like, even just like a pickle on the ice cream, like, it's gross, all right. But as long as you didn't eat too much of it, I don't think you'd be sick unless you had a really sensitive stomach. So I was a little bit surprised that there was a lot of regular sandwiches. And I personally think that whenever they did have like a regular kind of sandwich on the show and they showed it, it always looked really delicious. At least I thought it did. You know, I thought that was I enjoyed when they did that, making it look appetizing, you know. But yeah, I was also a little bit surprised at how many times Scooby and Shaggy get a Scooby snack. I was expecting at least once in every single episode. And unless I misread the list, which honestly, I was super busy today, so that could very well be that I read the list and didn't actually see half the things that were on it. But there wasn't Scooby snacks in every episode, was there?
I think there was. And at one point I wasn't writing it down, and then I started to write it down. So that's kind of my fault that it was not, the Scooby Snacks was not complete. But the episodes that I didn't write it for, I believe I've already transcribed those episodes, so I can just get it from the transcription and add it to the list. So.
Sure, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, I thought that was interesting. I could see it. I could even either way, I could see them doing that, because I feel like perception is often something that, you know, the writers even rely on sometimes. They don't have to do it all the time because they know that that's what we're going to remember. But I was just curious about that.
So Scooby snacks are meant to be like dog snacks first, right? That's how I always interpreted a Scooby snack. Was a Scooby snack is like a dog's treat that Shaggy is just eating. And I feel like over time it's definitely morphed into, you know, I have my guide to life with my Scooby snack recipe, but I'm thinking like, this is really supposed to be for a dog, like not a human, right? So.
And that's the thing that you have to be careful with the recipes, is that there are ones that are for dogs and there are ones that are for humans. Some of them are okay for both, but most of them are going to be for either or. One of the things that I did want to say, Shaggy is definitely not a vegetarian in Where Are You? That is
Great.
for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
And
I thought of that too.
Forget which 2 episodes, but there's 2 episodes that in the beginning, Shaggy's roasting hot dogs, and it's the same exact scene. So they just reused that scene in both episodes, which I thought was
yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah. No, I had thought of that too. Like, definitely he's not, like, from panel 3. He's definitely not a vegetarian back then. And it's interesting, like, why didn't Casey Kasem say so right from the beginning? I mean, I know we talked about this before, but unless he himself only became a vegetarian later on. But yeah, he definitely ate meat. There was meat in all those sandwiches and hot dogs and burgers. I mean, they talked about that all the time. Pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
He had said that he needed a ham sandwich to calm his anxiety, and then it just appeared. So, you know, he definitely was not a vegetarian then.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to know at what point he became a vegetarian, and I forgot to ask his daughter.
That would be interesting.
I was watching that video today. I don't know how accurate it is, but they said that in season 2 that he's a vegetarian, but season 1 he's not. But
in season 2, Where Are You?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Tori said, hot dogs is one of the main things that they eat. Like, they're always roasting hot dogs, eating hot dogs in Where Are You?
Yeah,
and definitely on the 2nd season, because I have the list here, like Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Werewolf, hot dogs, you know, with the Phantom, the ham, turkey ham, Jello mold stuff.
Oh yeah. So yeah, definitely not a vegetarian.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up and see when he became a vegetarian, because that would be interesting to know, especially, you know, when we do some more of these food panels, because I do want to do one for each series. So, yeah.
And what's funny, and what I've noticed is in the older series and movies, if you watch what Shaggy eats, there is no meat, but it's never actually mentioned that he's a vegetarian. But but what they draw, it's food, but there's no meat usually.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. One thing you were saying about the sandwiches and stuff, as a kid watching Scooby, I always wanted to make those big sandwiches, you know, like a foot high with layers and layers and layers. And it's like, I would put lots of meat, lots of cheese, and it's like still never got that high. It's like, how do they do that? You know,
Yeah.
I always wanted to have one of those too.
They did make some really big sandwiches, and
Yeah.
and there was one episode where they tied it because it was
Yeah.
huge, and then they tied it to make it
Mhm.
really small.
Yeah.
And then Scooby took it and ate it. Scooby ate most of Shaggy's food. I feel
think
like
so.
Shaggy did a lot of work to put stuff together, and then Scooby just stole it right out from under him.
That's how Shaggy
Yeah.
stayed skinny.
Yeah,
Right.
Like typical
Yeah,
dog
exactly.
behavior, you know? They always steal your food.
it's true. Yeah.
Oh, can I say one more thing on a side note?
Yeah.
Scooby Snack. I actually served Scooby Snacks at my wedding.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a candy bar. So we had 12 bowls. 6 were of different types of candy, and 6 were of different types of potato chips and little cookies, that kind of thing.
Mm.
So I had one with Scooby Snacks,
nice.
and that went over really well. But the funny thing is, there was a couple of people. I know my father-in-law. He looked at him, and I think I have a picture of him too. He's holding it like this. Like, am I supposed to eat this? Is it edible or is it a joke? Like, he wasn't sure.
Were they like these Scooby Snacks?
Yeah, I think they were like those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and at
That's
the time,
really cool.
you couldn't find them in Canada. So I had my cousin who was coming to the wedding from Baltimore. I had her bring 2 boxes for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is really cool.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to Scooby and Shaggy's obsession with food. And I'm not sure which one exactly is more obsessed, because like I said, Scooby's always stealing Shaggy's food. But we did learn a couple of things. One, in the backstage rage, we learned that Shaggy always wanted to be a pizza chef, which is interesting. That was the one where he puts the pizza on his finger and spins it, and then Scooby eats the whole thing, and he's like, oh, thanks for not eating my finger. Yeah. And we also know that they will use food not just to eat it, but for other things too. Like, they used a slice of bologna in the haunted house hang up as a coin, and they put mustard on one side and kept the other side plain. And of course, Shaggy flipped it in the air and Scooby ate it. But one of the things for me is that, I mean, they're obviously obsessed with food because they're being chased by villains. You know, a villain that they have no idea what they're going to do to them, but yet they always have time to stop and make a huge sandwich or find food, whatever. So
Right.
They always seem to gravitate when they're being chased. They always gravitate towards the kitchen.
yeah,
no
Yes.
matter what.
Yes.
yeah, they can find the kitchen in any
Yeah.
situation,
Mhm.
no matter what. So, yeah.
I just love that there always is a kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, like haunted ghost ship, there's a kitchen. You know,
Mhm.
haunted airfield, there's probably a place for food there. You know, if it's not like a
Was.
full blown kitchen, there's still something. You know,
It
I
was.
love it.
Yeah.
The cabin that's in the middle of nowhere that
Yeah.
not only has a kitchen, but has food that doesn't have cobwebs on it. So,
Exactly.
Well, the monster has to eat something.
There you go. That's there you go. That's it.
Al, you were gonna say something?
No, I was just going to say that I can't remember which episode it was, but I remember Shaggy walks into what's called a mess hall, and he's like,
Mhm.
it's not a mess. I don't know what they're talking about. And then somebody explained to him that mess hall is actually a military, term for
Yeah.
a kitchen. It's like, oh, of course they were there.
So it was a good teaching moment because they were telling kids what a mess hall is, so they
Exactly.
understand. Yeah.
I learned that from MASH, but I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like food was definitely like a motivator to, of course, you know, you can go face any ghost or monster with a Scooby snack. And then, I mean, if you're hangry, like you have to stop, make your sandwich, and then move on with your mystery solving. So it was definitely really funny to see, and probably like bad skills in my childhood to learn, like negotiate with food. So be like, Mom, I'll do something if you give me a cookie. Where's my treat? Where's my Scooby snack? So I'm sure like probably not the healthiest food mentality, but you know, whatever. I don't know if there's like any other cartoon that I ever remember watching where two characters were just so fixated on like food and eating. And of course, I think that's where the stereotype of like the munchies come from, which is something that I always never liked. I did not appreciate that, but I do think it's interesting. Like I can't really, and I don't know if anyone else can think of any like cartoons that just like the food was such a focus and it's such an obvious like choice. And I just think that's so interesting of the writers to really like hone in on that for some reason.
The only other cartoon that I can think of is Garfield with his love of lasagna. But I mean, he sleeps in a lasagna pan. Like,
Or, yeah. Or the only other thing I can think of is Sesame Street with Cookie Monster. And they started the same year.
yeah.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but
But they've taken Cookie Monster's cookies away. They are sometimes food now.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah. Which I don't like. I think that, you know, Cookie Monster's Cookie Monster for a reason.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
it's okay for a Muppet to eat cookies and, you know, it's fine. You're not teaching kids that they should only eat cookies if a blue Muppet is eating cookies, you know?
yeah. I mean, if my kids had blue fur, then I would maybe be concerned. But otherwise, yeah, it ain't gonna affect too many people that we know.
So I'm from Texas, and I just thought of, you know, we have our come and take it flag for the cannon thing. So like, do we need to have a come and take it with a Scooby snack? Like they can't take our Scooby snacks away. They started with Sesame Street. We won't let it happen to Scooby.
Right.
And I find it odd, like, why do people have a problem with Cookie Monster, but they don't have the same problem with Scooby and Shaggy? I mean, obviously they have not taken food away from Scooby and Shaggy. They're still eating everything in sight in even the new series.
Yeah.
So why do they single out one thing, but not everything else?
Well, I think maybe they tried to, though, going back to what we spoke of on a previous panel where they were trying to blame like obesity in children on cartoon characters promoting unhealthy foods.
Right.
And it's like, well, the cartoon character is not real, so he's not coming to your house and holding your kid down and shoving junk food down his throat. You know, like you're going to the grocery store and buying the food and you're giving it to your kid to eat. I think maybe there are people that have tried to get that thought planted in regards to Scooby and Shaggy, but I feel like maybe the fandom is just so strong that anytime that it gets brought up, people aren't afraid to say like, come on guys, they're cartoon characters, like it's fine, you know, it helps define them as characters, you know, and they're not real. It's fine, we can enjoy them eating these crazy things. It doesn't mean that we're going to go out and do it. I mean, eventually, clearly, at some point in your life, you may, for one moment in time, go out and eat one of those crazy things that Scooby and Shaggy ate, like we're going to do. But that is the exception to the rule. Okay? Do as we say, not as we do.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be people blaming something on what they see on TV or movies. I mean, it's the whole. I mean, look at the whole issue about horror movies causing people to, you know, randomly kill people. It's like, I don't think so. You know, I've watched pretty much every horror movie that was ever been made, and it's like I'm not out there slashing campers in sleeping bags, you know, and you know, little virgins in school campuses. So yeah, that's all bullshit.
I would like to talk to the writers and just kind of get an idea as to why they or how they came up with the foods that they use. Like I'm interested to know, you know, was somebody just experimental and they were like, oh, I eat weird foods all the time, so I'll just talk about it in the episodes? Or did they really just come up with a bunch of things that don't go together and put them together? It would just be interesting to know where it really came from.
Do we think
Yeah.
there's any merit in like the stereotypical Shaggy and Scooby or stoners types of thing? Obviously it's in that time period. I mean, what's everyone's opinions on that? Because I'm always curious to know from like actual Scooby, you know, fan people, not just someone who saw Scooby one time and is like, they're stoners, you know.
So for me, I hate that stereotype. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have teenage boys and they can eat. Like they eat a lot. And
Sure.
I'm pretty sure my kids are not stoners. But
So you hope, Mom.
yeah, so I hope. But I don't think that they are. It drives me crazy when people say that they are. And we even have looked up that the original creators never said, they said they're not stoners, like they're wholesome characters. Scott Innes said they're not stoners, you know, they're as wholesome as they get.
I agree. I mean, I don't like it when people say they are either. But also, one thing a lot of people don't mention is like, if you look at the other three characters, Velma, Daphne, and Fred, I mean, they don't act like stoners at all. So if they were, to me, all of them would be, not just Shaggy.
Yeah, agreed.
You know?
Yeah.
So no, I never thought of it that way. I mean, I don't think it was back when the original series came out. I don't think that was even talked about. I think that's only a fairly modern idea, like over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah,
Because,
I agree.
because like Tori said, if you look back, I mean, 1969, yeah, okay, that's the age of the hippie and the gypsies, and you think of stuff like that. And I mean, drugs were very prevalent back then, but I don't think they were. Not in my mind. So I think they were just, you know, Shaggy was a guy who just liked to eat a lot. He had a high metabolism.
Yeah.
I think wasn't even that talked about in one episode or in one of the movies.
I think
So-
it was at some point, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just some guy who liked to eat a lot. I mean, I have a cousin who's, you know, she's probably, you know, same size as Shaggy's, very thin, and she probably eats every 2 hours. Like she's constantly eating.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, and she doesn't do drugs, you know.
Yep.
I think we're just looking for some sort of silly excuse for his behavior. And I think he's just a guy who likes to eat. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there was a quote from Casey Kasem in the panel where we talked about the idea of Shaggy being a stoner. Casey Kasem, for all intents and purposes, is Shaggy. Okay. In 1969, he was Shaggy. So as far as I'm concerned, when Casey Kasem said no, that's not what he was. I mean, what is there to discuss? Okay. People are going to put whatever spin they want on things that they, you know, don't like, or they, you know, you do you, but that doesn't make it right, you know? And to me, Casey Kasem said no. Why would I try and argue with the guy that played the role, who originated the role? Why? I mean, I think you're kind of an idiot if you're going to try and be like, well, I'm right, but Casey Kasem was wrong. Well, okay, if that's the way that you want to feel about it, you're entitled to your opinion, but your opinion's wrong. I'm sorry, it just is. You know, and I think a lot of people forget too that, yeah, okay, today, 50 years later, we live in a culture where we look back at that time period and we hold some kind of weird reverence for that idea of free love and peace and drugs and all this kind of stuff. And we ignore all of the research that has been done over the last 50 years showing the damaging side effects to living that kind of a lifestyle. And we forget that this is 50 years in the future, okay? What was the majority of people living in 1969? What were they doing? I'm sorry, but those people that went to Woodstock were not the majority. The majority of society looked down on them as lazy, no good stoner bums. That was the culture at the time. So it's fine, you know, we look back, but we weren't there. And I don't think it's right to just like pick and choose little bits from history to like create your own history. That's not really how that works. You have to like view things in context. And the context is that, were there people doing drugs in the 60s and 70s? Of course there were. Were they the majority? No, they weren't. They weren't. Maybe they are today. I don't know, but they weren't at that time. So there is absolutely no reason to think that people, especially like it's Hanna-Barbera. Hanna-Barbera was already an established animation studio by the time Scooby-Doo rolled around in 1969. They have already had massive hits. You know, the Flintstones wasn't even for children, but children liked it and it was still clean. You know what I mean? It was still clean and it was intended for a more mature audience at the time in the 50s, you know? So why the heck would anybody think that Hanna-Barbera suddenly in 1969 is going to, I don't know, turn their back on literally everything that they've built their business on? You know, it's a cartoon for kids. I'm sorry, they're not promoting drug use. They're just not. You know, people, I think people just need to like get over that. If that's something that you want to do today, that's your business, but don't project what you want to do onto other things. You know, I don't think that that's a good thing to do. People do it, but I don't suggest it, and I try not to do it myself.
Jordan, what are your thoughts on Shaggy being a stoner?
I don't think he is. If I was running away from monsters, I would be starving all the time also.
True.
I got to thinking today though, just the way my mind works. Why did they name Scooby what they did? Because his name is Scooby Dooby Doo. And every time, if you think about it really hard, every time Scooby jumps in Shaggy's arms, Shaggy is holding a doobie.
Oh. I got it. That took me a second. I got it.
Yeah.
Get it? 'Cause
Like-
Scooby, he's holding a doobie. It took me- I
Yeah.
got
Shaggy's holding a doobie. But
Where did
Yeah, I don't-
Doobie in Scooby's name come from? Because his name is Scooby-Doo.
yeah.
How?
It actually came from a Frank Sinatra song.
Okay.
Is that what you were asking, or?
Well, Scooby's name came from that, but his
Yeah.
name is Scoobert-Doo.
Bluebird, yeah.
His name isn't Scoobert-Dooby-Doo.
No.
So I'm just wondering where that, like, where the doobie started to come into play in his name.
Do you think they borrowed from Fred Flintstone? Because Yabba Dabba Doo, and then Scooby Dooby Doo.
Yeah, I think it was like an alliteration that they
Yeah.
wanted to have. And then like Al said, there is legitimately a Frank Sinatra song
Right.
where he sings, you know, Scooby Dooby Doo. And so
Yeah.
I think that it was just a combination of those two things, but I definitely think that they were looking for the alliteration because Scooby Doo, it's only 2 syllables. When you add in that extra one, it just, you know what I mean? Again, they're in the business of making entertainment. There are
just
certain
sounded
like
fun.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there are things that you can do to better engage with your audience. And I think that was like Al said, just like what like Fred had that great alliteration, and it obviously went over really, really well with audiences. So I think that was definitely how that came about for Scooby. It was just like the right alliteration. Frank Sinatra sang it. It just kind of went together.
Yeah.
Jordan, you'll have to make that into a meme because that is kind of funny.
I've never heard that. That's a good one. I actually really liked that.
Yeah. Thank you. I work overnights, so my mind just randomly thinks of stuff because I got nothing to do.
Uh,
But yeah,
Um,
drugs are bad, so I just want to clarify. I don't do them. Don't encourage other people to do them.
That's good. I don't think any of us do.
No.
So,
Maybe a little in college, but I mean,
well, the past doesn't really count. We're just counting now. So let's move on to, have you eaten anything that would be Scooby and Shaggy worthy? Anything somewhat disgusting that normal people wouldn't eat? So the one thing that, and I tried it, but I tried it when my husband made it and he did not make it the same way. So my mother-in-law makes meatballs with raisins in them, which I think is like the most disgusting thing ever. So I would never eat them, but then my husband made them in the crock pot and he said, you have to try one. So I was like, fine. Well, if you ever put raisins in the crock pot, they turn to mush. They are absolutely disgusting. So it made it even worse. So now I'm just never going to try them ever again. It was horrid. But I don't typically eat gross things. Like, I'm very picky about what I eat. So, Jordan?
I can sort of see well, they came up with that because people use like grape jelly to make meatballs with. So
Or mint
but
jelly.
what's that?
Or mint jelly sometimes.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
tried mincemeat pie once. Oh my gosh, never again. I was really young, but never again. Have I tried anything weird? When Sonic had their chocolate milkshakes with jalapenos, I tried that. It was the most disgusting milkshake you'll ever drink in your life. Sweets and spicy do not mix.
Yeah.
So if you ever get the opportunity, don't.
And then besides the sandwich that you tried, that double, triple decker sardine marshmallow fudge sandwich, have you done anything else live that's Scooby related?
I think I've tried everything that we're doing today. And then I've tried from Cyber Chase when Shaggy puts like just the whipped cream on the hot dog. I've done that, but nothing else, I don't think. But you just like throughout my other lives, I've done them.
Wendy?
This is one of those moments where I'm like, you could just not tell the truth and move on. And I just can't help myself though, you know? When it comes to like eating something disgusting or that I shouldn't, for me, it's less about the thing that I'm eating. And it's the fact that I am really cheap. So I have been known to eat things that are expired or old. I mean, you know what? There are just certain things where just because it has mold on it doesn't mean that you can't cut the mold off and eat the rest of it. Okay? I'm just saying, I may or may not, like most of my American friends have never seen these, but Al's a Canadian, so Al might know what these are. Al, have you seen, they're more rare now, but for years and years, Beatrice made little yogurt cups, individual yogurt cups. They were about this big though. They're bigger than like the standard that come in like a 4-pack of something else. And they're like a plain yogurt, and then there's like fruit on the bottom.
Yes.
It's like my favorite kind of yogurt. Oh my gosh.
Oh, really?
This is gross too. Well, my grandma's passed away, so I don't think she's gonna care if I tell this story, but when she used to come down, and we have like, her cabin is on our property, so she would come down and stay for a couple of days all the time when I was little. And I hated the fruit in the bottom of the yogurt cup, but I loved the plain part because having them together but not mixed, the fruit would flavor the plain part. So if you had like a strawberry one, the plain stuff, it tasted like strawberry, but I just hated that gross jelly stuff on the bottom. So my grandma, who was also extremely cheap, to where I got it from, would let me eat the yogurt part, and then she would eat the fruit bottom, and we would just share the cup. Anyway, okay, that was too much information. But yeah, one of those yogurt cups. I am terrible for letting things get pushed to the back of my fridge, and I know that they're there, but I kind of go through these things where I will eat the same thing for like 8 days in a row, and then I don't want it for 6 months. So I may have ended up with fruit cups that were sealed, like they're all, because they're individual, they're still sealed, that were like 1.5 years old.
Oh
And I
my.
ate them anyway. And can I just say, it was the best yogurt cup that I've ever had. It was so much better than even when they're fresh. So yeah, for me, I have kind of like a problem stomach, so I don't eat a lot of weird things. I don't eat a lot of spicy stuff. But I have been known to like cut the mold off of bread or eat expired yogurt. Yeah, I think I'll quit while I'm ahead and just
No, keep going. I want to go.
I've cut the mold off of cheese because
yes.
the mold is part of cheese, so that's okay. When I was a kid, I ate a piece of bread that had a maggot in it.
Oh no.
And I did, yeah, and I think ever since then I've been really I've been very fussy as an eater. So to me, stuff like that, the moment it gets expired, it's like it goes out the garbage. But to answer the question, I don't know. I don't think anything I really eat is that weird. I did have hamburgers once with cinnamon in them because a friend recommended it. He said, "Oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever made." He said it was very medieval. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's like, okay, so I tried it. No big deal. It wasn't the worst thing I've eaten. It wasn't the best either. But no, I can't think of anything sort of Shaggy-ish.
You eat liverwurst, right?
I love liver. Yeah, liver pate and liver.
That's not weird. That's not weird.
To some people it is, but
I want to try it so bad. I don't know where to get it though.
I have liver pate tonight with the ice cream, but I don't have a liverwurst, but close enough.
They did eat the liverwurst with the ice cream on top of it, and which they got, what, 3 sandwiches of that. They got 4 hamburgers, and Shaggy only paid $1.50, so that wasn't bad.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
In the day.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Tori, how about you? Have you eaten anything crazy?
I mean, so I like to cook a lot, and I'll try anything once. I'll eat anything once. I mean, I've had like the mushroom blended hot chocolate stuff that's supposed to be good for your brain. I thought it tasted, I mean, earthy, dirty, but it was good. I think when I was little, I had the weirder eating habits. So like, I used to love to eat raw pasta. I would just like chomp down on raw pasta, and I would sneak raw bacon. Like I liked the texture of raw bacon. I remember like opening the fridge and like nibbling on a cheese block and then like taking little pieces of raw bacon from our fridge like a psychopath. And my poor parents like waiting up, like, what is she doing? Like, I was probably like the little omen kid or something by the fridge, like, ooh, raw meat. But I mean, now I don't eat anything super weird. I mean, I like pineapple on my pizza because I do too. Palate, so people get angry at me, but you know, whatever. I like cilantro. Sue me. But no, I mean, I'll eat anything. I'll try anything. So
my dad and my sister would eat raw hamburger meat, which is disgusting.
My sister too.
I don't know. I don't know why, but
that's a meal, right? Isn't it? It's like the raw. It's a culture. I don't know what culture it is, but there is a cultural thing of eating the raw ground. It's like the ground beef with like the seasoning, and then of course there's steak tartare. That's what steak tartare is. Yeah. But there is. I can't think. It's like I can't think of what culture eats it, but it's served on like a bed of like lettuce, and it's got seasonings in it, and you like off pieces and you eat it, and it's definitely just like.
And I can't. Is it like Greek or something? It's
something. It's something. But
my husband tried that. I forget what it's called. But like my mom would make meatballs, and my dad and my sister would just come and like pull the raw meat out of the bowl and just eat it.
See, they're
So-
cultured. They're just more cultured than us. That's all.
And then we did a chocolate walking tour in Boston. And at the end of the tour, the lady came around with a plate full of chocolate covered crickets. And no one would eat them except for my oldest son. He ate one and he said, "Oh, it's not bad." So
If any meat is like pink inside, it's still raw. Put it back
Yeah.
on. I won't eat it. If it's, I would rather, like, to me, there's no such thing as overdone meat. I don't care if it's tough. And to be honest, like, I'm just going to say this because I love to cook. If you can't cook the meat fully cooked and still have it nice and tender, that's a you problem. That's not the meat. Okay. You can 100% have a nice tender steak that is cooked and not pink inside. I get so mad when people are like, "Oh, your meat will be so hard, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, no, I'm not going to get sick from eating raw meat. And I guarantee you my steak is going to be great. And I mean, come on, how many people love like real barbecue? You know, up here, I mean, I live in Northern Canada. There's no such thing as like real barbecue. Okay. There just isn't. But down, you know, Texas and stuff like that, where barbecue is like a culture of
What are
its
we saying
own.
about barbecue? Yeah.
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 So think about that though. How long are they cooking that meat for?
yeah.
Like 2 or 3 days sometimes. Like, don't give me this raw meat tender business. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Okay, that's how you get sick. Cook your meat, please. Please, for the love of Scooby, just cook the meat. Cook it.
I agree. I don't like it when it's pink inside. It's, yeah.
Oh no, I gotta have a rare, medium rare to rare steak.
Oh,
I don't mind a little blood on my plate. Oh, works. for me.
Medium well.
Medium well for me.
Oh,
No.
no.
Am I the only one? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shock.
I don't even like cooking anything that is bleeding. Like, to me, that's so disgusting. But I can get past it as long as it's cooked all the way. But
Mhm.
yeah, no.
Yeah, it was really hard. The last dog that we had, which I mean, he's been gone since I was in high school, so it's been a long time, but we got him. He was already like 7 years old. He was a little Chihuahua Yorkie mix. And like his previous owners, I don't think they knew how to take care of a dog. And his teeth were just in such bad shape that all he would eat, I mean, he would not eat anything. He wouldn't eat dog food, dry or soft. He wouldn't eat anything. The only thing that we found that he could eat was beef liver. And so for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, twice a day, every day, we cut up raw beef liver and cooked it in butter. He had his own little frying pan because I refused to eat out of the frying pan because I like liver pate. You know, Eastern Europeans would call it pashchetova, but it is just like a liver pate. And I love that. But as far as like actual just plain cooked liver goes, I mean, just talking about it, I can smell it. And because I can smell it, I can taste it, and it's making me want to gag. So yeah, cutting up this bloody, you know, you'd have to go to the grocery store, buy the beef liver, cut it up into, you know, portions, and then snip it all up and cook it. And just even touching it was awful. So that's how much I loved my dog, because I was willing to do that twice a day, every day for the time that we had him. But that, oh no, it's, I'm not into like the bloody, I have a hard time with raw chicken. I find the smell of raw chicken can really put me off of
A lot of
whatever I'm doing.
A lot of people, my sister is like that. Raw chicken is like a thing that she does not want to see, does not want to touch, does not want to handle. I think a lot of people are definitely a little, and it is kind of scary because you can get really sick from raw chicken too. Like if you don't clean up properly and the cross contamination. So that totally understandable. And freaky looking. And chickens are, don't get me started on chickens. Chickens are like a whole thing. I worked at a museum and I had to do a chicken, like historical chicken thing. So I can historically dispatch a chicken, and it's a nightmare scenario that I never wished that I knew how to do, but I do now, and it's
It's cute.
So, Al, you brought up finding a maggot in bread. I opened a pack of ramen noodles and I poured it in the water, and there were maggots all over it.
What?
It
Oh,
was disgusting. I have not touched ramen noodles since. And anytime somebody eats them, I'm just like, you should check those. Like, you don't know what could be in there.
yeah,
Like I would
yeah.
imagine they look similar to that little. Oh
Yeah.
man, how do they even get in there? How do they
I
even
have
package? Like
I have no idea, but it was
man.
disgusting. And yeah, I won't touch them. I now if I do make any type of pasta, like I look really closely because
Mhm.
and this happened years ago and I'm still freaked out by it. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I would
blame
be
you.
too.
Yeah, anything to do with bugs, yeah.
yeah.
No, thank you. Get away from me. Yeah, I won't eat any chocolate covered crickets or scorpions or whatever they have. I don't care how much of a delicacy it is.
worm and the tequila shot.
I give a lot of money for that.
Anybody have anything else that they want to share that is disgusting that you or someone you know has eaten?
There is one thing, because I find that this is really disgusting because I don't particularly like ketchup in general. There's very few things that I want to have ketchup on, you know, like it's just, it wasn't, you know, it's just not something that I enjoy too much. But, and I know my dad will watch this. So Dad, if I get this wrong, you can correct me in the comments. But when he was a kid, he went to a birthday party for one of the girls that lived next door. And I think they would have been like maybe 7 or 8 years old. And as I recall the story, I think it was the girl, someone at the party decided that they were going to put ketchup in their Orange Crush pop and drink it like that. Apparently there was a lot of puking afterwards. There was also cake and ice cream that went in on top of that. So I can just imagine what that house smelled like that night. But I just like I was a kid once too, and honestly, I can truly say to you, putting ketchup into any kind of pop would never, ever, ever be something that I was like, you know what, we should try that. That would be fun, or that would taste good, you know. And apparently they thought it tasted good too, so they kept going with it. Well, not my dad. My dad didn't do that. I won't leave anybody with that impression. My dad didn't do that, but yeah, apparently that didn't sit well in anybody's stomach. But that just sounds so gross to me. So gross.
I thought you were going to say ketchup on the birthday cake, but
that's
in the pop is just as gross. Yeah,
that would have been awful. Oh my goodness.
All right. So now we get to taste test some stuff.
Oh, gosh.
So if you guys need to get stuff ready, go for it. We can take a little break, and when we come back, hopefully none of us get sick. We are going to start with the chocolate covered hot dog.
Okay.
And let's see how this goes, because
boy,
hot dogs are gross.
Who do we blame when we throw up? That's all I want. Who's taking the blame for this?
Very nervous for you all.
Oh my
so not
gosh.
only
Nikki's
do I
out of
not
the
like
panel.
hot dogs, but my hot dog is cold. So yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I
man,
can't.
should have heated that
Why
up.
are we doing this? Why am I on this panel? Oh my gosh. Oh.
Listen, we could have tried more disgusting stuff. This
That's
is
true.
like the least disgusting of everything. So, all right, here we go.
So here goes.
Oh my God, that's not good.
I mean, it's not bad.
Mm.
Like, I wouldn't like write home to my mom about it, but like, it's not bad.
Al's going in for seconds.
Like, if you imagine this, that you were just like, it's like a
There
nice
wasn't much chocolate.
sunny day, and you're having a hot dog and a chocolate milkshake.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
oh,
that's the thing. It's kind of, I mean, it's not disgusting, but
mhm.
It's like the fries and the chocolate milkshake, but it's like it's stepbrother. Like it's not quite a family. It's kind of removed.
Yeah, I
It's
can't say
edible.
that I agree with you guys that it's good, and I won't be taking another bite of that.
Well, you
No, I would
should
never
have
eat
heated
it
that up
again.
for sure.
I'm gonna eat the whole thing. I'm gonna put chocolate on the rest of it. I can't believe it, but I mean it's true.
Yeah.
It's not
good.
bad.
It's not something I would ever eat again, but it's not bad enough that it's going to make me sick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
All right.
So let's try the chocolate covered corn on the
Hello.
cob while we are
All right.
trying chocolate
Okay.
things. All right. Tori, you're so lucky. You just get to look at us.
I'll eat a cookie in solidarity.
I wish one of us had fought to like do soy sauce and just pretend it was chocolate.
No.
Now I'm thinking that's what somebody should have done.
All right, here we go.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting. No.
No.
Nope. Hard
No,
pass.
they don't.
And that was my vote for what would be the best. I thought the flavors would match the best. But I'll just put
That's not good either.
Oh,
I'd
That is
rather
better
the
than the hot
chocolate
dog,
hot dog over the chocolate.
oh. I'm gonna have to eat the chocolate hot dog to get rid of the taste of the chocolate corn. Oh
Yeah,
my.
the chocolate hot dog was better.
Mm,
That was unexpectedly bad.
yeah, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
No.
No. No.
Chocolate does not make everything better. That's the moral of this story.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Mm,
Yeah, I
all
agree.
right.
Guys, that dog though, I mean, come on. I actually really like it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna save half of this and take it downstairs later and be like, Dad, I don't care. You're eating this. Taste it.
Wendy's gonna bring chocolate sauce to all the cookouts now. She's like, hold on, wait, I have my
That's
chocolate.
funny. So the last thing we have is the Scooby Snacks. I made two different types. One that looks better than the other. Like these actually were able to become shapes. So I have a dog and a bone. And I did fire hydrant and a paw print. And then I did this other one, which is the one that's on my website. And like they were supposed to be able to be turned into Scooby's collar, like the diamond shape. But when I put them on the tray, they just went everywhere. And then when
Yeah.
it baked, they all baked together. So I don't know. So which one, what did you guys make?
I have the ice cream, so I'll do that after you
Okay.
do the Scooby Snacks.
Okay. And when
Okay, I can't remember. I can't
you
remember what it
made-
was called. But we made the same ones. Yeah, and I did actual like pup named Scooby-Doo shaped.
Oh,
ones.
nice.
I'm anticipating asking my dad to resin these so that I can just put them in my collection.
Nice. So it's the spookily scrumptious Scooby Snacks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the other one that I made that's on my website is supposed to be an official recipe, and it's from the Scooby-Doo. So let's see how they are.
If someone told me they were dog biscuits, I'd believe them. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. That the texture is horrid.
It is, yeah.
Like it's awful. When I was making them, I'm thinking, how can you make a cookie with no fat in it? There's no butter, there's no oil, there's no eggs. It's just like, and as I was like rolling it out, I'm thinking this is the kind of stuff when you're like 7 years old and you're in school and they make this and you like put your handprint in it and take it home for your, you know, your parents or something. Like you don't eat it. You don't eat it, right? Oh,
Yeah.
those are terrible. They're
Master
so
of
bad.
Penance.
So these were made with whole wheat flour, honey, baking powder, baking soda, vanilla, cinnamon, and water. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, it
Oh,
is.
edible, but
It's edible, I guess. My dogs will hopefully like them.
Yeah, like I did just white flour and
I
I
did white
added,
flour
that would
too.
be the real trick.
yeah, and I added more sugar to it because I was
Sorry,
like, there's
Wendy.
no way that's enough honey.
Yeah.
But Oh, yeah, they're not
So I'm
good.
gonna try this one. This one had brown sugar and
Mm.
regular sugar. It has all kinds of stuff in it.
Mhm. Yeah, that
It looks good.
one looks like it'll taste good. Mhm.
It's better. It tastes
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Does that one have the coconut in it?
it's supposed to, but I don't like coconut, so I didn't put it in.
That sounds like, because I in my guide to life, it has the Scooby snack recipe, and that's probably the same one then, because that sounds more with the brown sugar and an actual egg and vanilla. So that's probably
Yeah.
one.
That's the one I made. Mine had coconut, but when I cut them up, put them in the container, they stuck together, so it's like this giant
Oh my
cookie.
gosh.
Whoa, that's very Scooby appropriate.
I was gonna say it's too so appropriate.
All right, Alan, you're doing ice cream.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got ice cream with a pickle and liver pate.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm gonna try
Oh.
first the liver pate.
Wendy, seriously.
So now I gotta get rid of the Scooby snack.
Okay, the liver pate and the ice cream. No, it's just the two flavors don't mix together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm tasting liver and then I'm tasting ice cream, but they're not blending.
Mm.
Mm.
And then pickle with ice cream.
What's your ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
Okay.
I didn't want to go for anything too exotic.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it's going to be strange enough as it is. That's a little better.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I've heard of the chocolate covered pickles, so.
Hmm. This would be different.
Well, it's like pickles with cream. It's not bad. That was okay.
I don't know that that's something I would want to eat, but
Mm.
I don't think I really like the foods that Scooby and Shaggy eat. So
Yeah.
and we've proven again that all Scooby snack recipes are created differently.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, you definitely want to choose one that has
That's-
sugar in it. It'll be better.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else that anyone wants to discuss about the foods from Scooby-Doo? Where are you?
The one thing I was thinking of throughout this panel is like, it's funny how you never hear the other characters talk about food. I mean,
Mhm.
once in a blue moon, they're at the malt shop and they're having a milkshake or probably like a cheeseburger or something, but otherwise they never ever talk about, okay, now it's our turn to go to the kitchen and cook up something.
Right.
It's like
True.
they never eat at all.
Mhm.
Yeah. We did see Velma was drinking a milkshake in one of the episodes,
Mhm.
but I think
Hmm.
other than that, you really didn't see them eating.
It's
No.
not until
No.
more modern episodes that I can think of where they eat more so on par with the gang. Like I think of
Mhm.
Be Cool when Velma is the only one not affected by the hot sauce, like weird little gags like that. But I don't remember them much in the kind of older iterations.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and in Zombie Island, and they all sit down, and Daphne gets mad because Fred loves Lena.
The only other thing I wanted to bring up is, have we seen Shaggy snacks anywhere else? Has that come up in any other movie or episode since Where Are You?
For some reason, I feel like
think
there's
of it,
one
but-
other reference to that, but it's something different than what Daphne
Yeah.
makes him, and I can't think of where it's from, but I feel like there is one other instance where there's like a Shaggy snack.
And it's like in a box, isn't it? It's like I feel like I remember like there's
Maybe.
a snack box and like, oh, we made a Shaggy one too. I mean, that could just be my brain, but I feel like maybe
Yeah,
in
that
one of the
could be.
movies or something, they like had like a specific snack for Shaggy, but I felt like it was more of like a Scooby snack type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't
I'm
remember.
sorry, Nikki.
You're making me laugh. It's funny.
Did you eat the whole thing?
Almost.
And I recall you saying, I can't believe we're actually going to try this. And
No.
look at you. Like now this
I
is
know.
going to be your new favorite thing.
I advocate for this unless I throw up later. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I would like you guys to let everybody know where we can find you online. So Tori, let's start with you.
Yeah, so you can find me at Tori Scooby Fan. It's spelled Tore, on Twitter and on YouTube. To be more honest, I'm probably more active on Twitter because I don't know how to work YouTube, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Wendy.
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Wendy Loves Jesus, or you can come over to my blog or Instagram. Instagram, I'm at Wendy Brydge. It's Brydge with a Y, and my blog is also wendylovesjesus.wordpress.com.
Jordan.
Yeah, you can find me only on Instagram at the art of Scooby-Doo.
And Al.
I am on Facebook under my own name, and also on Instagram under Scrappy Al, and that's because of one Scrappy-Doo, but also because I am a scrapbooker. So I've tried to show some of my stuff on there as well.
And I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. Thank you guys all for joining me. This was a lot of fun. And
This was.
I'm thinking maybe every 10 episodes, we'll eat some weird Scooby foods.
Oh my gosh, I have to. Can I tell one more story?
Yeah.
This one is like my Russian grandma, my mom's mom. And when I was young, we had a big dog named Buddy, and he was a husky wolf hybrid. And so you guys know there's like jerky for dogs, right? But it looks like jerky. Like it legitimately looks like jerky, except like there's a dog on the package. And so one time my grandma was staying with us, and she walked out of the pantry one morning and she's chewing on something. And she turns to my mom and she's like, "Oh, Mary, what this is so good. So good. Where you buy this?" And my mom turns and looks and she's like, "Mom, those are the dog's treats." Like, what? No, it's so good. No for dog. What you talk about? You crazy? I was like, "No, you didn't notice the dog on the package?" Oh goodness, yeah. The day that grandma ate dog treats and acted exactly like I just did with this hot dog and ate it anyway because it tasted good apparently.
Hey, those high quality, I mean, it really is just like, I mean, what's the difference, honestly, if it's like the good,
I guess so.
you know? Like my dog is spoiled and they get the jerky treats too, and that is a very easy mix up. I have looked at that and thought, I might eat this. You never know.
Well, Wendy, that just made me think that I have a very similar story. My husband's uncle went to visit during Christmas at his mother's place, and the exact same thing happened. He sat down in the living room while Paul's mother was in the kitchen getting dinner ready, and he sat down and there was a bowl of food beside him, and he's just started. I say, "Oh, these are good. What are these?" And his mother walked in the room and said, "What the hell are you doing eating the cat's treats?"
Oh my
It was the
god.
exact same thing. Yeah, but he kept on eating them.
Love it.
That's the weird thing.
Great. That's great.
We went to a restaurant and ordered, my oldest son and my stepson wanted calamari, fried calamari. So we ordered it. My youngest son ate it and he's like, "Oh, this is good. What is it?" And they told him what it was, and he was like, "I'm never eating that again. That's disgusting. How could you let me eat this?"
I actually tried that a couple of years ago. It's really good. I love calamari.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
a lot of people like that. I don't know. I guess it looks better fried, but I don't know how people can eat it when it's not fried.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just looks
Yeah.
disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how people like certain foods until they know what they are.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
remember trying,
That's
when I was
so
young, I
true.
tried deer for the very first time, and
Mhm.
they didn't tell me what it was. And it's like, "Oh my God, this is the best steak I've ever had. This is so good, so good." And then afterwards, it's like, "Oh, well, it was deer." It's like, "Oh, really?" And just the thought of it kind of freaked me out, even though it still tasted good.
Yeah.
But
I love
Yeah.
venison. It's
Yeah.
so good.
So lean. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm not
Uh,
fussy. I'm not fussy on deer or moose. My dad loves moose. Hates deer, but he loves moose, and I don't really
Yeah.
care for either. I find them just like too gamey for
Too
me.
gamey. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
why I'm with duck. Duck is like the very bloody, very gamey, and my fiance is like a big hunter. So I'm like, oh, don't bring the duck home. Don't bring the duck home. Bring the deer. Bring the deer. So I just make him do the deer. I've done duck and sausage gumbo, where if it's chopped up in little small pieces, I can do that. But duck itself, when it's like the wild duck, it's just that flavor. I don't like it. I don't like it. I've tried.
Like rabbit too. Rabbit's very gamey.
Yeah, I'm not fussy. My grandma loved rabbit so much, like that Eastern European, that they love that kind of thing. And I was like, no, I'm not fussy on it. And that was the one where it was like the thought of what it was like, I'm not eating Thumper. I'm just not. I don't care what you say, I'm not eating Thumper.
Yeah, Shaggy doesn't like squirrel, but my dad does. My dad says I like squirrel. It's like chicken and dumplings, but if you do squirrel and dumplings, he says you can't even taste the difference. But I don't know if I could do it.
Growing up, my siblings were like, and us used to like bet each other to do random stuff, and we bet my brother to eat actual dog food, and he did it, and he's like, "Oh, that's not bad." Like actual like dog food, like
Yeah, like the little kibbles.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't, maybe because like we were in a small town and there was nothing to do. I feel like all of my friends at one point or another have at least tried kibble, dog, and or cat food.
Oh my god.
Sure. It's something we've all been like at someone's house, like, try it. You won't. It tastes like nothing. It just doesn't taste like anything to me. So I don't know.
I hate the smell of it though, so I couldn't do it.
Well, they're so fancy now too. I feel like the dog food, like when we were children that we tried, was like Old Boy, like probably was just like all wheat fillers, and now there's like real like meat and stuff in the dog food. So it's like a whole different level for dogs.
For sure. Some of it's probably better than what we eat.
That's cool.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
That Blue Buffalo stuff.
Yeah.
But even the natural stuff smells pretty gross.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we feed our dogs natural food and it smells horrible. But they like it, so they like almost anything.
Dog food. Kind of like how Wendy did for her dog, but my friends like they do the big crock pot, so it's like rice, pumpkin puree, and like chicken stock. I mean, just stuff that we would all eat. And I'm like, that doesn't sound half bad, but that's what she makes for her dog, with like the cooked food stuff.
Yeah. Well, tell you the truth, if I still had a dog, I would probably, regardless of what it was, I think I would make his like food for the dog, because I feel like there have been too many times where like, especially Asian made dog food that has like poisonous stuff in it and the dogs end up dying. Like if you search that on Google, like dog treats and dog food that has been contaminated, and it's really cheap, so people buy it, but like there's no standards, like there's no quality standards or anything, and like how many dogs have actually died from eating that stuff? And I'm like, why is this not all over the news? This is a big deal, you know what I mean? People need to know that don't feed this to your dog, you know, like it legitimately will kill them, you know. It's like, but I feel like it's stuff comes from so many different places today, and I feel like they have different ways of not being completely honest on the label about like where it's coming from, you know. Like I love that packaged in Canada with, you know, ingredients from other countries. And I'm like, okay, well, it's those other countries that I'd like to know about. Okay, I don't care if you packaged it in Canada. I want to know what that stuff is and where it came from, you know. But
yeah, did Scooby ever eat anything like non-dog friendly in real life? Like we mentioned all the foods that Scooby ate. Do you think any of those ingredients are actually like not dog friendly? Because you know there's so many things dogs really can't eat.
Well, he did eat. Yeah, he did eat the sardine chocolate marshmallow sandwich, and they can't have chocolate.
Yeah.
But they say chocolate in a small amount's not bad, is it?
Does Scooby ever eat anything in a small amount though?
Well, yeah.
If he's ever eaten grapes aren't good for dogs.
Oh yeah.
And apple seeds are bad for dogs. I know he's eaten apples.
Yeah, he's eaten apples for sure.
So yeah.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that was just, I mean, I don't know if maybe the writers back then, like, did people know? I mean, I'm assuming people knew back then what dogs could and couldn't eat, but I feel like, I don't know, now we're so much more aware of what we give our animals than we ever were. So I wonder if that was like a cognizant or just like, whatever, this is not a real dog. Who cares?
I feel like food, like even human food, was made different back then. You know,
Oh,
there
yeah.
wasn't as many chemicals and pesticides in it then. So
Yeah.
they probably didn't necessarily have a lot of things that they couldn't give their animals. But now, I mean, we're poisoning ourselves with everything we eat. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, it's different.
there's certain stuff that that animals can't have now. But I don't know if it would have been the same back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something tells me they didn't research that too much. I don't know. I think they would just write anything that made sense, and it's like, okay, let's put it on the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I
It's
agree.
even funnier, like thinking about the portion sizes when you remember the portion sizes back then were even
Yeah.
small. Like our portion sizes, or
Right.
at least in America, are like literally insane. So it's
Mhm.
funny thinking about like back then how incredibly like extreme their eating
Right, that's
really
true.
was. You know, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Nikki.
you all
Yeah,
taking the
having us.
time to do this. Thank you for tuning in to another Scooby panel. I'm Nikki Blake from ScoobyAddicts.com. If you like these panels, please subscribe to my channel for more great discussions. A very special thank you to Scooby fan Tori, artist and Scooby collector Jordan Smith, Scooby collector Al CHIASSON, and artist, blogger, and Scooby collector Wendy Brydge. Scooby and Shaggy were voiced by Scott Innes. Check out Scott's page, Scooby's Meddling Kids with Scott Innes, on Facebook. Scooby Panel is available in podcast form on most podcast platforms or as a web series on YouTube. If you would like to support the Scooby Panel, please go to support.ScoobyAddicts.com. Scooby Addicts art by Will Davenport. Video editing by Nikki Blake and Mike Burns. Music composed and performed by Bovine Nightmares. Please join us next time for our discussion on the Scooby-Doo podcast.